Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. We are
Germaine.
and Saidah of Travel Check-ins, and today we are going to be talking about 5 cultural norms that are normal in Kenya but not necessarily in the US. So we're going to just do like a little comparison. These are going to be things that we have heard, personally experienced here in Kenya that we notice are different, and we want to kind of shine a light and let Americans know some things that they may not know about Kenya. One of the major cultural norms in Kenya that surprise us as Americans is going to be maids. And we don't typically use the word maids in America. We usually say like helpers, right?
Yeah, because we're too sensitive in America. I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever.
So here in Kenya, it is normal for middle class people and even working class families to have a maid or domestic help. So you want to tell like Americans like what that looks like here in Kenya?
I don't have one. But,
We wanted one.
yeah, from what I see, right, it's basically they just do what you would think a maid does. They help clean up. They may help with the kids. They definitely help cook. Just things like that. Just, normal household stuff.
Well, and I'll just elaborate a little bit more because
What more
he
you got?
wildin'. The maids here do pretty much everything.
Like,
They can take your kids down to the driver for them to go to school. They can walk your kids to school. They can wash your kids' hair, take them to the salon, shop for groceries, cook the groceries, give baths, help with homework,
that's help with the kids.
plan meals. Like I'm going into details for the ladies in America because
You don't want
there's
to abuse people because you tell
no,
people
that's not
something.
abusive.
No, I ain't saying it's abusive, but there's levels to this thing. So
Well, I mean, so
okay,
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's normal here for a maid to do those things, but like in America, like you said, you would say you don't want to abuse people. I think that's where the cultural, I think that's where the cultural differences come in, because everybody that I hear talk about having domestic help or having a maid,
right?
the maid does the household things.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
so.
Whereas in America, a maid is looked at. So having a maid here can be something that's kind of normal, right? But what
Yeah,
about
it is
yeah,
definitely. And be honest with you, the thing I see with a maid, right? They're almost like a second wife to a certain extent. They
right?
help do what would typically be the wife's duties.
In America, like that would
In Am-
typically be a wife's
Well,
duty.
here in America, I don't know what we got
Well,
going on.
yeah, but yeah. So the maid typically does what the wife would do, the
Right,
mom
a
would do.
domesticated, yes,
Yeah, so it's like you said, almost like a second wife.
yes, but self she
But
gets paid.
yeah, but she's getting paid.
Yeah,
So yeah, so that was something that was so shocking to me because I really believe that caring for the home and taking care of a family, it is a lot of work. It's just a lot of work. And so when I hear Kenyan women tell me that having a helper, someone to come alongside you to help you with your duties, like that's just a normal thing. Like that is just such a big deal because in America, maids are considered a luxury and they're super expensive.
well, that's why nobody has them because the
Not
price.
nobody,
Well,
but
the rich
yeah.
normally is who have them,
Or
right?
rich or wealthy.
The wealthy, however you want to put it, because everybody else is priced out of the market.
Absolutely.
Okay, that sounds good, except there's a lot of people who could have some work who don't have work because we demand so much money sometimes for not doing much work. So,
Yeah.
yeah, here I think they kind of do it right.
Okay, so on to the number 2 cultural norm here in Kenya that surprised us as Americans, and that happens to be polygamy. So polygamy is legally recognized and culturally accepted in some Kenyan communities, but in America, polygamy is not even a thing.
Well, first of all, it's illegal. Um, I'm pretty sure that comes from being rooted in the Bible, so we don't partake, I guess you could say.
Yeah, so And polygamy is just basically a husband being able to have multiple wives.
Right.
And we've talked to several Kenyans and we've heard about the pros and the cons of those kinds of relationships.
Right.
We don't have that in America. That's not even an option. But
we do have it. And,
not
yeah,
legally.
right,
Well,
not legally.
people cannot legally marry somebody else. But what would be a version of what polygamy could look like in America for us?
Out west, right? They do have polygamy going on, but it's still not really recognized by the country. I guess you could say by the government. But be honest with you, some of the stuff we have is worse because polygamy, you are taking care of the family. You get a second wife, you're taking care of the kids for the most part, right?
Yes.
In America, we just call you get a second baby mom.
Yeah.
A third baby mom, but you're not getting a second or third wife. And in that relationship, you can't have 2 and 3 women in the same complex in
And
the same
they
house.
know about each other.
That's not gonna happen in America. It'll be a fight. So,
no sister wives in America,
No,
really.
ain't no
I mean,
sister
we have
wives.
certain sections of the U.S. where people do practice that, but that is not a cultural norm for us.
That's my new.
I don't know anybody who lives in that way.
No.
But again, we've heard about the pros and the cons
Right.
of polygamy here,
Right.
and one of them is like Germaine was saying, they typically will take care of the second or the third or the fourth wife.
Right.
They provide for the children. Everyone knows one another. But we've also heard that even like the families sometimes have what in America we call dysfunction because it's just one dad or one husband and all these different kids and there's different rankings within the family.
And I want to make sure sometimes people have 2 and 3 baby moms, right? But they do take care of the children. So I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But they probably not taking care of that second or third baby mom. Her herself,
Right, she's not getting a house
work.
and all those things. She's not taken care of and provided for.
Right.
But just some of the things, being a child in those situations, we've heard that like growing up, it can be kind of a touchy situation. So just learning about polygamy and kind of seeing it firsthand and hearing about it firsthand.
In our society, that cannot work.
Why?
Because first of all, I'm gonna be honest with you. Men and women, right? We're equal, but we're not the same. So in America, we got men not really being in their rightful roles, in my opinion, and women not being in their rightful roles.
Being submissive and leadership.
Again, in
Like
my,
head of household.
in my opinion.
That's our opinion. So,
Right.
being where the husband is the head of the household and the wife is submitted and she's a support, she's a helpmeet.
By my opinion, I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean
Okay.
but that's the way we see things, and also that's just we view things from a biblical lens.
Right.
So if you view things from a biblical lens, then this is just what it is. This is the way God made things, how the family runs, and so that's just how.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
Yeah, we don't think it could work in America, not in today's time.
No. Can I back up for 1 second?
Yes.
One thing I realized about polygamy here, it's different in Nairobi. I talked to these ladies here; they are not going for it whatsoever, and they rather be alone.
We've talked to a lot of Kenyan women, and not a lot. I'm not gonna say a lot. We've talked to Kenyan women enough,
A few.
and they all have the same sentiment that they are not compromising in that area. If they're not going to be the first one and only wife, they don't want it. They don't want to be a wife at all. So the tide is changing. Mindsets are shifting, and I think part of it is that like some of the women we've talked to are Christians. They are believers,
Well, that's true.
and they believe that one woman was created for one man and one man for one woman. So I
And
could see.
If you have another point of view, just let us know in the comments. This is not our expertise whatsoever.
Yeah, we don't know much about polygamy. Like I said, we just go from what we know from the Bible and what we believe from the Bible, and those are the foundations of our family. And being that this is a Christian country, predominantly Christian country,
Yep, for the
I
most
should
part.
say,
Yeah.
they are moving away from polygamy, especially in Nairobi, where it's more modern here. And some of the people of the tribes, they're saying, that was the culture, that was how we did things, but let's do something different.
Yeah, it's a lot of intermingling too of the tribes and stuff like that here. So.
Right. So things are changing again. Like that's not a cultural norm for us, but as we are living here as expats, we are learning more about the culture, and it's just interesting to see. So the third thing on our list is time perception, and by time perception, we're gonna just name that African time. And listen, that's no shade, guys. I don't want you guys to feel like, oh, well, they mean African time. In the U.S., we have something that's called African time.
No, we call it CPT.
We call it CPT. We call it colored people time. And it just means that you show up late for stuff, or you just kind of show up whenever. You tell people you're coming at a certain time.
Come at 5, it might be 5:30.
If you say you coming at 5, listen, somebody could say, I'll be there at noon. They get in there at 2. About 2.
I notice people do that here. That what they'll do is they give you one time, but it's really not that time. They just want you to show up on time.
Yeah. And so Germaine and I, we're really sticklers for punctuality, because the world in which we operate, in the world in which we live in, you have to operate on being punctual and being on time.
Yeah, especially where we come from.
Yeah, just the world in which we live in America. But even here in Nairobi, we see that, we've heard that was a thing, but
not the people we around. Let's get this thing started.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We don't specifically experience
Right.
African time.
We don't.
But I've heard other expats say that that's one thing that annoyed them living here, African time. Like they'll make an appointment to meet with an agent to look at an apartment, and the person will show up really late, or they won't show up. They'll reschedule for the next day. We haven't really had those experiences.
No, because I think, everybody have different experiences, right? But the Kenyans we are around and we meet, they're about business. They're about accomplishing and doing things. So they can't be late. Like you can't be late and get stuff accomplished. So the people we around here, I don't see it. So maybe that could even be a myth or it's just it could not be as big as people make it out to be. But we do have CPT in the United States.
Yes.
That's kind of shrinking too.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm not going to say too, because I don't know if that's true here. But here, I know in the U.S. that was true, but it's becoming less and less true.
Yeah, and I think it's just like here, and I know when we leave outside of Nairobi, people have just like a laid back approach to time. Like nobody's like really in a hurry. When we go to church here in Nairobi, like church starts at a certain time and it ends at a certain time. Then the next service starts at a certain time and it ends at a certain time. Now, when we go out to the village,
hey, I understand that's a more peaceful way of living too.
It is.
You just can't do it in the city, but
Right.
out in the village, man, you got all day. I mean, yeah, why not?
But even when we were in the village, like I'm starting to notice, like when we're out there, the people are like, hey, what time is this thing starting and what time is this thing ending? Because we have a long way to get back to where we live. So I was noticing it there too.
Sometimes, but I know sometimes in the village, man, they keep it real. I'm coming at this time and I'm leaving at this time. Wherever the service is or whatever you do it,
right.
That's on you, but I'm getting out of here.
I've seen people leave. So I think people are like moving away from that laid back approach, even in the village, as these generations progress. And you guys let us know if you're from the village. Let us know how things work with your tribe and your village. But our families are like that. Even when we have social events, sometimes we'll say, okay, this is what time it starts. But everybody kind of comes when they
the
are
village
ready.
is close to like where I'm from, the country. So when we say the country, we mean a small place. They kind of operate the same way, to be honest with you. So we kind of less on that. Let's hurry up and do this. We're like, okay, I get that too.
Right.
I'll leave when I feel like it.
Yeah, and with us in America, we don't have that laid back approach. We have a more of a time is money approach. Like, come on, we need to get on top of this because we are based on usually an hourly pay system.
Well, for you, it's a little bit different because you grew up in the city, right? So, and even when you moved to South Carolina, like you didn't really move to the country. Where I came from, I will say it's a little slower. It's not always the time is money, but.
So number 4 on our list of cultural norms in Kenya that surprise us as Americans is going to be the directness of Kenyans.
And I love it.
I love it too. I was born and raised in New York, and New Yorkers are so direct. But as I got older, and I don't know if it's because I lived in the South. I don't know why I started feeling like you have to be not polite. What's the word? Yeah, you have to put on your politeness filter.
Well, it's nothing wrong with putting on a politeness filter because they're polite here, but they just give you the truth.
Yeah,
If you fat here, they say, "Hey, you're fat."
it is true.
And you in the U.S., we'll just say,
Oh no, girl.
"Oh, you look good. Go ahead and put on that
Yeah,
halter top."
yeah, no. So, but like in Kenya, people are really direct on topics. Like it doesn't matter. Like topics, political topics, gender topics, religious topics. Those are touchy topics. Health and weight. Those are touchy topics in the States.
Right.
And like usually if somebody asks you something, a lot of times people won't give their true opinion. They'll give the politically correct opinion.
Right.
But here in Kenya, people just say what it is.
I think it's that community thing. So if I'm really trying to help you, right, I'm going to tell you the truth because I'm not helping you by giving you a lie,
Right.
regardless of what it is. So I like it. I don't have time. Now in the U.S. we'll have people say, "I'm gonna say what's on my mind," but the intention is different. You just kind of
Yes.
start and stuff. But here they just, "Hey, this is what the fact is."
They'll comment on your physical appearance,
Right.
your marital status, your income. Like you guys in the last video we did. What was the last video we did? 4 reasons why Americans should move to Kenya.
Right.
And they were talking, we got to talking about like the different tribes, and they commented, "Oh no, y'all must be East African because y'all foreheads." See,
You got a dome now.
like that made us bust out laughing. we know we got big foreheads, so it was funny.
Yeah, you tell somebody in the States, even we'd have been in the States, you tell me I got a big head. I'm
Yeah, somebody
like, watch your mouth.
see, because it has no context.
Right.
It's just like you got a big head, but in the comments they said, you know, you must be East African because
You
of
got
them
a big
foreheads.
head, yeah.
So it's a different context.
Yeah, it's just real.
Yeah, so we love.
Yeah.
It's not like they're trying to put you down. It's
Nah.
just their identifying
Hey,
characteristics.
look, you got a big head.
Yeah. So yeah. So Germaine, share a little bit about how you were able to determine that it was like genuine concern or genuine curiosity or just a genuine comment versus them being rude. Like what differentiates it between a Kenyan with their directness and maybe like an American with their directness?
Because it's just true. Like, it's easy. Like, if you just give me the truth, I'm cool with it. They don't have a face with it. They're not doing all that. They'll be like, "Hey, you got a big head. Hey, you fat. Hey, you need to eat some more food."
Yes.
Anything, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just, hey, that's what their opinion is, or that's what they think is fact, and they're not trying to harm you with it. Actually, they're trying to help.
At least it seems like it.
Right. So why wouldn't I be fine with it? I'm big on intention. So if you intend to help me, sometimes I might not like what you got to say. It is what it is, though. I got to take the information and go with it.
It's true. Different context. So like we were saying, like directness, I think directness is really good,
It's helpful.
especially when the intent is out of love. Like the Bible says, tell the truth in love.
Right.
Yeah. So let's move on to number 5 under our 5 cultural norms in Kenya that surprise us as Americans. But before we do, if you guys are enjoying Germaine and I's video, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe to our channel, make sure you comment, because like we said in our last video, when we get to 10,000 views, we are actually going to do a genetics test to figure out what part of Africa we are from, and even try to narrow down what tribes we could have actually came from. And we're going to do that at 10,000 followers, so we're looking forward to it. So help us get there by sharing our videos with friends, commenting, and liking our videos, and also watching them when we launch them. So number 5, under the cultural norms in Kenya that surprise us as Americans, is gender roles. So Germaine, can you discuss how traditional gender roles are still prevalent in many parts of like Kenya?
Well, I would say this, right? 20, 30, 40 years ago, right? What we had going on in the U.S. and what is going on in Kenya is pretty much the same. So, like I said before, men and women, we're equal, but we're not the same. So we have different stuff we could do. Like, I don't need her to do what I do. I don't need her to go out there with a shovel and dig a hole in the ground, right? That's really me. First of all, she's not as strong as I am. And if a burglar is breaking in the house, right? If she goes to the door before I do, I think it's a problem, right? Wouldn't you say so? So, like, we have different things we have to do, right? Use your skills. I can't be a mom, right? Yeah. I'm the dad.
Yeah.
And I don't think a dad could be a mom because we have different characteristics that God gave both of us. That being said, right, I think it's getting like messed up here just like it's getting up in the U.S. And I think that's because, and I always say, I'm a big man, you're the head of the household kind of thing, right? So if the household's getting messed up, it's mostly on us. And I would say, I think a lot of us men messed up in the past, right? If God put us as the heads of the household and then we are abusing our position, I think that's going to cause people to rebel. Now, sometimes people rebel just because they don't want to fall in line. That's on them. But I'm talking about just what I see. So, but that's caused some people to go overboard and think that's all men is going to go upside your head, which is not, right? And I understand people here, sometimes they'll still go upside somebody's head, just like in the U.S. they will, right?
And go upside your head means domestic violence.
Yes. Yeah, that's what we say when you're going to fight somebody.
Yeah.
So, but that's not the majority of men. It's not the majority of men here, at least not the ones I'm around. And it's not the majority of men in the U.S., but I understand men have given other men a bad name and a bad reputation. And it's caused, in all that controversy, it's caused, especially men in the U.S., I think we kind of stepped outside of our traditional roles, and we kind of have made our ladies, to a certain extent, become more like us, which we don't like whatsoever, just to be honest with you. We like
feminine.
Yeah, because feminine is more attractive in women, right? Just like masculinity is more attractive in men.
So what does that look like? So as far as like expectations around the household and leadership, like in America, how have men stepped out of the role? What does that look like? And how have women stepped out of the role? What does that look like?
Well, I'll tell you what made me happiest when I was a kid, right? And it was only a certain time. My dad left and went to work in the daytime, right? Early in the morning, came back. In the meantime, my mom was home, right? So we got home from school. She was there, fed us, bathed us, all that kind of stuff, right? So as a child, right, and I got a brother too, that's when we were at our happiest. But when mom had to go to work or whatever, she trying to get it, he's trying to get it, all that's cool, right? Because I realize everybody's trying to do their thing. But as a child, I was happier when they were had their own thing they were doing in their own roles. Now, we might have not have had the same amount of money, I don't think. We didn't have a whole lot anyway. But as a child, you don't really care. It's like, okay, I see what I want as an adult. So as an adult, I took that on. I said, well, okay, if I got to sacrifice, I got to sacrifice. But that's why our house ran like the way it ran. That's why you stayed home for the most part. And I went to work. Sometimes I worked 2 or 3 jobs. That's just what it is. And I know man's the head of the household, but I keep saying, when I'm not there, which seems like 90% of the time, you running the whole place.
Especially when the kids were little, yeah.
Right.
I used to work a lot.
Yeah.
I used to work two jobs if necessary. Whatever had to be done, you did it. So yeah, I was home a lot of the times with the kids, and I think like one of the ways that I see like the gender roles get switched sometimes with husbands and wives is like sometimes wives are in a position where they may be making more money than their husband and then it puts them in a position, it puts the family in a position sometimes where it doesn't make sense mathematical and financial fiscal sense for the husband to work a job.
Nah, she making 100 grand and he making 50. Don't make her no sense for her to quit now.
Yeah, so in that you have to
Yeah.
juggle still being submissive,
Right.
although you make the majority of the money,
Right.
and the husband still leading, and also a wife allowing her husband to lead, choosing to say, you know what, the money is not going to cause me to switch my role. Because when I've talked to Kenyan women here, I've heard about situations where the woman does make more money and she comes home and she still believes her role is doing the things at home, like preparing dinner and caring for the kids. And I know that in America, sometimes for us, just going back to the number one cultural norm that's surprising about Kenya, is having that helper, someone that's going to help you as a wife and as a mother get dinner prepared. So you can still operate in
Right.
your femininity.
Right.
But if you're coming home in America from working a hard job, then now you have to cook dinner and you have to help with homework.
hard-
You still
yeah.
bringing home work in your mind. You haven't decompressed from that. You're
That's
coming
true.
home late. So just even living in another country allows me to see how some things are beneficial, that we make so much money in the US because as this woman, she may be making mid to upper six figures, but and I'll just say mid to lower six figures, it's still hard to afford a full-time maid like the ones that are available here in
Yeah.
Kenya. It would make the job easier because then you come home, you've already talked with the maid, she
That's
knows
around.
what the routine is, but we just don't have those
Yeah,
things.
that's just
So you
right.
gotta find the balance. You have to
Right.
find the balance.
And I'm not telling people. Listen. Please don't come for me in the comments.
me
First of
either,
all, 'cause
cause
I don't care.
and
Second of all,
we do want the smoke. So if you come with the smoke, we are right. We don't want the smoke.
no,
we don't
'cause-
want the smoke.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give you what I gave you before.
No, we ain't gonna give it.
No, I don't.
But
want
just give your opinion
But I
and
don't
your
care.
feedback in a respectful manner,
Yeah, because I'm just saying what I see, right?
and
I
what
know
we're gonna do in our household.
Right, well, my house and when I was a kid, what made me happier.
Yes.
Right, but I realize it's a different world, right? We people trying to get it, people trying to eat. So I don't know, do what you got to do, man.
But one thing, go ahead, baby.
I was just say, you know what makes people will eliminate a lot of this stuff, whether you're working, not working, he's working. If people just, when we say your role is really your purpose, right?
Yeah.
So if you both are trying to live in your purpose and you're trying to accomplish this one goal, it doesn't matter how it looks as long as you get it done.
And just go ahead, babe.
No, you good. I'm good.
Just to piggyback on what Germaine was saying, I do want to piggyback because I gotta put in there like what really helped us ultimately
What?
with the roles and stuff.
What?
It's been the Lord, because
yeah.
when Germaine and I talked about me being at home full time, and then when I was at home full time, how overwhelmed I was with the responsibility of being a wife and being a mother and taking care of all the things that are required to run a home successfully. I can appreciate the number one from this list, the maid, having the maid. But I also can see, like, if you don't have those things, that's why I tell Kenyans all the time, you have some blessings. Like, don't look to the West, don't look to
lot.
America and think everything is going to be better if you go there. No, look at what you have here that is good and what is great and build upon that. Like Germaine and I, we could have just chased the American dream. And if you read our description, we tell you we are a couple who's decided to turn our back on the American dream per
Not
se.
America.
Not America, because we are Americans. We love America. We have a great life and had a great life in America.
Right.
But we want to immerse ourselves here in Kenya and also in other cultures, because we realize there are things we can add to our lives. There are things we can learn in our lives that we can also continue to teach to our adult children, so it can impact them raising their children. Because like Germaine said, the world is changing. Women are making a lot more money now than they've ever made.
I don't know if they're happier, but yeah.
But then they have to find that balance between, okay, now I am making the most money. How do I make this money and still be submissive,
Live in your
still be
purpose.
feminine, still operate in my purpose, and still love my husband, still respect him, still support him, and not you know what I'm saying, have this kind of attitude that they try to push when you make money, you the boss.
Yeah, because you do that for a man, you make him feel like a man. He'll jump off a building for you. I'm gonna just let you know, if he's a real man, he'll jump off a building. And I was gonna say to you, when we say sacrifice about these roles and stuff like that, we sacrificing right now to be here. So, like we said, I ain't turning my back on America. I like it here. Certain things I like here better than America, just to be honest with you. But we have our good attributes too, right? So there's some things Americans do that
right,
Kenyans can kind of pick up on too now. I don't want to act like it's all gravy here too.
Yeah.
But we love it here, but it is a sacrifice to be here because I'm actually losing out on money being here, just to be honest.
But we know what our purpose is,
Right.
and we know that this is where the Lord wants us to be right now. And he said that he would never see the righteous forsaken or his seed begging bread. And we've been here 3 months. We have a roof over our head. It's
Almost
really
4,
nice.
yeah.
We're never hungry. We're never begging.
And just to be honest with you, I like it here.
We do
I
like
mean,
it. We like
I didn't like it here.
We
Just to be
like
honest with you,
it.
we did. I didn't know how I was gonna like it coming, right?
Me either. I didn't know what it was gonna be.
I know I like visiting.
Yes, I knew I like
But
visiting.
here, I like the slowness, being direct, and
Yes.
like safe and stuff
So
like that.
so don't
Yeah.
jump into that, because then that goes
That's
to
a whole
my
different
that
thing.
goes to my question. No, because you're gonna answer that.
Okay.
So I want you to tell me which of the cultural norms surprised you the most out of all 5, and that was maids,
Mm-hmm.
polygamy, time perception, directness, gender roles. Which one surprised you the most?
I've been here before, so I think it was still directness, to be honest with you, because I'm fairly direct, but I'm not used to others being direct, and it just kind of like when you telling somebody to do something, they're like, yeah. I'm like, what?
You like it cutting you off.
But then I had to realize I do that too.
You do.
I was like, yeah. I don't
You
need to hear all
do.
that. Wrap that up. I don't need to hear all that. So I had to say, oh, okay, it's a lot more me out here. So I was like, okay, I like it. Like so, but it only took like an hour or two because you go get it.
You did look crazy the first time. I was like, they was like, yeah. You was like, you're a Frau.
I'm like, what?
Right.
But I get it. Then I had to think. I was like, oh man, he's just like me. So you can't get mad at that. It just shocked me because I'm not used to people being. I'll be honest with you, direct and truthful, not trying to hide things a lot.
Yeah.
Unless my friends, my friends, they don't care.
You said they don't care.
Nah, people who, my friends, they tell me whatever.
So for me, it's the maids. It's just like, it's the maids. It's like, I didn't realize people had maids. And then when I heard all the things that the maids did, like that just wouldn't fly in America.
You know why?
Why?
It's not just the price. I think, y'all can tell me if I'm wrong, you other Americans, I think people think they're too good in America to be maids because
so.
of the whole dynamic of coming from
Slavery, yeah.
blacks being
House
low on the
helpers.
economic
Totem
pole. So we're like, man, I'm not about to be your maid, right? But
Well,
here,
because that's what wives say to their husbands sometimes, or to their with like when ladies are dealing with a guy, and he say, "Can you get me a cup of water, or can you pass me
really
the remote?"
what she's saying, I don't want to be your slave.
Yeah.
Right, but here it's different. They never dealt with that dynamic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is just a job. Okay.
It's a job.
That's what I need to do to make some money.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. So it was the maid one that surprised me the most, and just even the fact that like after you have a child, how man, it's just almost like you're being catered to. Like you're not supposed to even do anything those first 3 months, I've heard. And I know everybody doesn't have that experience, but just hearing those things, it just makes me think like, okay, if American women could hear it, maybe it could help to shape their mind in a different way and just look at life differently in how they mother and how they interact with their spouses. Okay, can we just share how learning about these norms deepened our understanding of Kenyan culture?
You can go first.
Yeah, I feel like the more I learn about Kenyans, the more I kind of understand myself, and it helps give me a different perspective on my life as an American. And that's what I was just talking about. Like, if American women could, or American wives, American women, American people could experience other cultures, I think we would not take for granted as much what we have, the privileges we have. And then maybe we can take those privileges and actually build upon them versus focusing on maybe like things that are not so great in America. Because there are great things about America, but there are also great things in other countries as well.
Yeah. I guess for me, right, I guess being a man, like, sometimes, like, we come here and I go home, I was like, this is what it's going to be here. It makes you kind of feel more like you're a man, I guess you could say, because we have a word in the U.S., what, toxic masculinity?
Toxic masculinity.
Which I don't know what that really means, but I'm not going to try to stop being a man. I'm going to be a man of God, man of faith, a fair man, but I'm going to be a man. That's what I am. That's what I'm supposed to be. That's what my sons are supposed to be, grandsons, whatever.
Absolutely.
So that one has affected me, because sometimes when you get outside of one culture, you start becoming like another one.
Yes.
And I think I'm starting to kind of relate more to the Kenyan culture.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
It's true. And being here, like when you're in the U.S. as a woman, it's like there's this like societal push to be on your boss energy, or to be strong, or to be assertive, or to be ambitious, or to be aggressive. But here, one of the things I noticed immediately when I got here is how low Kenyan people talk, and how low Kenyan women talk. And I'm a loud talker. I mean, I come from a loud city, but even in that, I realize that's no excuse, because even in Nairobi is a loud city. And some of the people who live in the slums, it's very, very loud where they live, and they still talk so low.
They don't have anything to prove. They're not brash. They're just being people.
And it's not their culture, like sometimes I don't think. And so, yeah, even the talking low. So I'm learning a lot of things being here. We appreciate you guys here in Kenya. We appreciate all of our American subscribers. We just wanted to point out some of those cultural differences that stood out for us, and I feel like they're helping us to be better as husband and wife.
Excuse me. When we leave here, right, and we go home to America, right, for the holidays, I think we're going to have a better time. So I think we'll have a better time and better understanding. Won't be part of these other norms that's going on.
These new norms that are being, pushed out into society.
So,
to maybe just make better decisions, or different decisions, I should say.
And it'll make us really be thankful. Because if you come from America, right, you have certain privileges and stuff like that you take for granted.
Yeah.
And if you put them the right way to your advantage, they'll be to your advantage. But if you start having these bad morals and a bunch of money, then they end up to nothing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So guys, make sure you like this video if you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe, and don't forget to check out our videos that I will link at the end. I will link to our video where we share 4 reasons why African Americans should move to Kenya. And thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye.